All right, boys, what's happening?
Evening.
Evening.
All good. All good. Hello, everybody on YouTube. Welcome back. We'll stick to the usual format because it's been decent the last couple of weeks. Talk shite about Hearts. We'll look forward to shite about Hearts and a whole load of nonsense in between. Shanks, hey boy, what's been happening? It's good to see you.
I'm just working away, mate. Had the wee man at the weekend, so a wee quiet one. It was good to see how we turn the results. Good to be back.
Part-time shift at Livy to pay off your macaroni pie debt?
I did 47 of King Charles's sausage finger pounds.
Is that how much it cost on those macaroni pies?
47 quid for 10 macaroni pies. Actually, 9 macaroni pies, and the drummer wanted a steak. Fucking posh cunt.
Oh, there's a first strike. Well done. 30 seconds in, Shank. Welcome back.
Thanks.
Easy.
Why was it macaronis? Was it in case anyone was veggie or something?
Everyone just ordered macaronis, man. They're all 14, so that's just what they're into these days.
That's class. Right, Kev, what's been happening?
Not a great deal. I was that angry last Wednesday night I didn't even bother going on Saturday. And I'm going to stick with that story, not the fact that I actually had a weekend booked away with the lads. So, but yeah, we'll just leave it at
the lads.
Yes.
Lads.
Lads.
And what's
got to get back to my youth somehow.
That's true, mate, that's true.
So was that me?
That was you, Ando.
Kev fucking steamrolling things as usual. Aye. Mate, I'm fed up. Like, I've spent a fucking day of my life travelling up to Scotland last Wednesday only for it just to be pissed all over my dreams, that is. And then, same as Kev, I took the huff on Saturday, couldn't be fucking arsed making the trip again. Sat and watched a bits of Bob's it on the telly. So I'm cheesed off.
I do fully blame you for Wednesday as well.
I said this when my plans changed and I realised that I could actually make it. I was like, right. I sent the apology text to you and Tam straight away. That gonna get humped tonight. It's my fault. I do apologise. So I stand on me for that one.
Well, I absolutely do. I absolutely do. Tam, what's been happening?
No, much really. I missed the game as well, but none other than I can't handle my drink any longer, so I was in my bed all day and watched it on the telly. So,
how are you doing? Last Movember in February?
It's my Kairos tash.
Is that as far as you've got? You raised money in Movember, but didn't actually grow one, so you've just taken you this long to get it.
Yes. My first pubes.
Welcome to this. This is my first pubes story podcast. Well done. Nice. Right. We'll obviously, we've got a Tam down with Tam. We'll get some What's He Fooks with Kev. We'll go through some of the headlines, even though there's not very much. We'll talk about the wonder goal that was Saturday. We'll talk about some of our favourite wonder goals. Tynecastle. Look forward to Hamilton in the Cup on Friday. We can talk about Dundee United game. The last 30 minutes, preferably. If you want to, you can talk about the Rangers game. I was only there for 8 minutes, so I can leave the floor to use. And we can talk about another wonderful day in the life of Scottish football VAR, because Saturday was shambolic. Sound good, boys?
Sure
See,
does.
when you said if you want to about Wednesday, I'm quite happily not. But
it was a new first for me that I was angry an hour and 45 minutes before Hearts had even played football. It's a new low for me. And then I was even more angry when I got text from Laurie from Hearts TV to tell me that the team was mental and it's mega attacking. And I was like, well, that sounds a bit weird. Then I met Joe Sked in Sainsbury's, who was buying a mozzarella salad, which is unacceptable. So that angered me. And then I seen the team, and then Joe said he'd spoke to Robbie, and they said that what our game plan was. And after 42 seconds, Rangers almost scored, and I was like, I am going home. Can't be any angrier than I am right now. I am going home. And then waited 7 more minutes and then left. So there we go.
Did you have to come back to pick your dad up?
I sat in the Sainsbury's car park in my car, furious. text my dad about 45 times to say fucking leave. My dad is the eternal optimist and believes that with 33 seconds left on the clock, that Hearts will still win 4-3. And it is only adds to my anger in life. So I sat in the Sainsbury's car park absolutely spewing, and I'm waiting for the £80 car park fine to come through my door and just round off what was a fucking horrible night. So that'll be fun.
You said you were in Sainsbury's buying mozzarella salads with Joe's kids, so you technically were a customer, so you're all right.
Well, thank you.
Give me your receipt.
There's a loophole. There's a loophole that I will absolutely explore.
I'll just mute myself for the rest of the night, and that'll be the only sensible thing I'll say.
It was decent. Obviously, everybody on YouTube as well. Fire in your questions, comments, whatever. We'll try and get through them if we can.
Before we go any further, there is one that I'm going to draw your attention to from Jim McDowell. First time I've seen Shanks on live, was expecting a bloater. For fuck's sake, he's smaller than Ando. Well, I've got words for you, Jim McDowell.
Welcome to Scottish Slummers.
Aye, exactly. Jim McDowell, away and off you fuck. All right? Before I chuck you at the chat, any more of that pish and you're not welcome back. Go after
Mate, I'll
Pam.
let you
He's bigger than
I'll
me.
let you back in. I'll let you back in. Remember when we tried to do the live thing and Shanksy's cracked in, and it's like, nah, no chance, man. Is that
Cracked in or cat in? Sorry.
yeah, the cat in.
Is there a
Your
difference?
cat's his cat's like 4 foot tall. It's embarrassing.
Fucking Bengal tigers.
It's weird as anything. Right.
The last one was when we tried to record Keepy Uppies during lockdown, and we're all like, my tits are too big, I'm not doing that.
Mate, I have a video of your keep uppies. Remember, that was the first time ever I've seen anybody toe poke the ball with their head. Remember, Shanks was the only person I've ever seen.
Who ended up in A&E after that game of Keepy Uppies?
Bye again. That's what I said. I was telling somebody about that at work the other day. They were asking why I don't play the fives at work, and I was like, mate, honestly, I played walking football once with my mates and thought, actually, I could get back into this, and played one more time and ended up in hospital. I was like, nah, I've got to give this up, man. I can't do it anymore. So it was fun. But it was fun watching you toe poke the ball with your head. Never seen that before in my whole entire life.
Yeah.
And you showed up with that like 1998 Cameroon T-shirt that didn't have any sleeves, so I'm not going to call it a vest because it's not a vest, but it's like a tank top thing, remember?
You're
And
a bit like
rugby.
Danny Dyer's
Tanzania
character in Mean Machine. Just like
Aye, it was
The
Tanzania.
Tanzanian third strip.
Tanzanian first trip.
He'd seen trending on Instagram, so bought it.
Give me 2 minutes. My COVID purchases are fucking questionable.
You're right.
Your purchases are questionable.
That is very true. Right, Tam. Geezer Tamden.
Pass. Obviously, Friday night, we are playing Hamilton. We're going back 12 years. Fuck, that was bad maths. Nearly to the day when we'll be playing them. It's the 12th of February 2011. We won 2-0 at, well, it would have been New Douglas Park at that point, wouldn't it? So, is that what it's called? Oh, fuck, it doesn't matter.
I have no idea what their stadium's even called.
Aye, it would have been that.
It's like the Fountain of Wayne or something it's called.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Remember, it was like cannabis oil stadium.
The CBD.
Aye.
I don't know.
Did you say 2011, Tom?
2011, yeah. So,
Just so you
Premiership
can Google
game.
it. I can see it
Hands
on
up,
your glasses,
aye.
mate. It's the downfall
Right.
of being specky. I can see it on your glasses.
You can see the lineup and everything. Right, we'll kick off while I see it on the screen. So, Kev, kicks it off. Just go for the team. Starting 11 and subs.
Zaliukas.
Correct. Ando.
Scatchel.
Correct. Corbett.
Kevin Kyle.
No.
Big square sausage head.
No playing.
No,
Shanks.
Suso.
Correct. Kev.
If there was no Kyle, Elliot.
Yep.
Stephen Elliott.
Ando.
Buzied.
On the bench. Yes. Corbett.
Templeton.
Also on the bench. Shanks.
McGowan.
Incorrect. Kev.
Egert Jonsson?
Yes.
Oh.
Ando?
Steve.
Bench.
Oh, fucking hell.
Feeling
Wait a minute, have we got any of the first 11 yet?
Yeah, we've got five out of 11.
Every time we played at Hamilton, it feels like we had that stupid Yukio Bankas white and blue away top on every single time.
That would have been that year as well.
Jamie McDonald.
Also bench.
Oh, well, that's got my next one in.
Yeah. Shanks.
Kenneth's wrong, but Beatty.
Definitely wrong. He played about 6 games, I think, or something. The year after. Kev.
8 games, never lost.
I'm now wondering whether I should be tactical here and take it Corbett. You've got that nervous kind of laughing giggle there, as if to say, "Don't you fucking dare." So I won't.
Kev, I'm not that invested in this game. I'll just put that out there.
All right. In that case, Kello.
Correct.
Correcto.
Ando.
Webster. Andy Webster.
Also correct.
Yeah.
Corbett.
He's
got 4 left in starting lineup, 3 subs.
I've got one more, and that's probably me.
Danny Granger?
Nope.
No.
Shanks?
What season?
2011.
2011.
Hamill?
Must have been injured or something.
Hamill's also incorrect. Kev?
I've got one more guess.
Lee Wallace? No, he would have been gone.
No, you're right. You're right.
He left that season, didn't he, that summer?
Correct, though. You're right. Ando. Shanks is raging you said Lee Wallace. That's always his answer.
Fuck it. Ian Black.
Yep.
Right, I'm out. That's me done. I fucking struggle.
No, we're just trying to guess folk that were in the cup final team that might have been there.
Well, there's one, definitely.
Wait, is it not me?
No, it's Corbett.
Then you.
Again, just because it's the blue and white. Ruben Palace we lost.
Absolutely, yes. Shanks?
I don't even want to say mine now. It's probably 5 years out. Velichka.
Oh, so incorrect.
How many years out was that?
You were getting closer. You probably played with Rangers at the time.
He's still in the same country.
Just thinking of the team. Darren Barr?
Nah. Ando?
I'm sure we had like youngsters, but I genuinely can't think of any of them. I'm chapping.
David De Boer. See there?
Nah.
Definitely that team though. Right, what positions have we got? We've got our left back. We've got
the only position we've got starting lineup is a right back, and to be honest, we probably shouldn't name him.
Is it Craig Thompson?
Yes, it is. Yes.
I thought that's where we were going with that.
Right. It's free on the bench. There is one that played in the cup final year after.
Davidas Novakovic or whatever he's called. What was his name? Davidas. That's Chesnowski, but it's not that.
Andres.
No, he's came through youth. Winger.
Andy Driver?
Yes.
Driver. Scott Robinson, see that?
No, but there is a young boy who had scored a fairly important goal. 1 point.
Dale Carrick.
Gary Glenn.
No. Gary Glenn, yep.
Gary Glenn's still there, 2011.
Who did you say yes to there?
You.
You for Gary Glenn.
Right, okay. Fuck.
Right, so what we got? One
final player.
Right, name our clues. Let's get it. 2011. Who played with Hearts? It wasn't Ryan. We've said Ryan McGowan. It wasn't him. Boozy would have been on the bench. We've said Egert Jonsson, haven't we?
We have, yep.
I said him. Oh no, you said him.
No,
I don't know.
Oh, no.
Comes up in these quizzes quite a bit, like previous ones.
Well, that's helpful, Tam. Thanks.
You said no hints.
What was the clue? Did you give a clue?
No. Do you want a clue?
The Scottish or is it foreign?
Foreign. kind of always bench, played a few positions.
Nah, I'm chap.
Easy shite.
Nah.
Rovic.
Played
What?
a few positions.
Rovic.
Kev's right.
Aye.
Mrovic.
Well, he was not a shite.
Oh,
No.
He was not a shite.
lads.
No.
Why was he not playing?
That team
Because
was
he's shite.
Kello, Thompson, Webster, Zaliukas, Wallace, Santana, Black, Palazuelos, Johnson, Elliot,
Santana.
Scatchell, Suzo. Sorry, I've got it. I took it off the BBC. So
I
I
thought
was say, what was it, the
you
guitarist?
know, fucking Hibs isn't that?
And we won 2-0, did we?
2-0. Who scored? Anyone know? Remember that far back?
Elliot.
Yeah.
Elliot. Somebody else.
Elliot and Elliot. double.
Right,
to be fair. So.
Oh, aye. We definitely were we wearing that blue and white strip? Yeah, just say you don't know, Tam. It's fine.
Sky didn't tell me that, man.
Aye, we can see you.
You said you went to the BBC, Melt. They love
I know. I
pictures.
realised after it. Actually, we were wearing the sort of.
Was it the black
Ajax.
and blue thing?
No, it was a
Aye,
home one.
Ajax one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That one that Corbett really hates.
Mate, I hated all those ones because it was inverted. It was the other way about. What did we do it that way for? Thanks for annoying me, Kev. That was
It's just a perpetual thing, isn't it? It's like, can we all just, like, we're going to have to do a GoFundMe for your therapy. And it's like, the football club and everybody on here absolutely infuriates the fucking life out of you. And
But to be
after
fair,
one, I'm not sorry. So
and I like this. This is my therapy. I like this. This is where we can unwind.
very true.
Right. Geez, see, folks, since we're talking about being annoyed. Let's do what is he, folks?
And are we doing the teams and then answers at the end?
I don't know, Kev, it's your fucking feature.
Well, it's not really. It's actually Brad's and I'm stealing it. But I'm just asking if you want to do them at the end or you want to do them straight away.
Well, let's see let's see the standard first, then we'll decide.
All right, no worries. The standard is shite. I'll tell you that straight away. So starting off with the first player. Yep, correct. Stenhousemuir, Hearts, Wraith Rovers on loan, Rangers, Hamilton, Burton Albion, Hamilton, and Drumchapel. Should be a fairly simple one for Shanks.
Yeah.
Second player, Falkirk, Forth for loan, Hearts, Kilmarnock, Ross County, Dumbarton, Morton, Stirling Albion, and Annan. So definite peak when he was at Tynecastle.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brussels, Anderlecht, Roda, Akshar Beriersov, Lech Poznan, Hearts, Al Riyadh, Apollon Limassol, and Dundee United.
Right. Again, fucked off with this because I'm never going to get a single
I
point.
think I've got all three of them.
I think I've got all three, actually.
Should we wait to the end or we just go through it?
Fuck it, just do it now. Rip the band-aid off because I'm raging.
Well, two of them I'm pretty sure we've already mentioned the night.
We have. I believe that too.
On you go, Tam, since you know the first one.
Correct.
David
The
Templeton.
first one then, Tam.
David
David
Templeton.
Templeton.
Correct. The second one, Shanks.
I just wrote down Forfar and Hearts, man.
I
I
believe.
genuinely thought you would have this because this is usually an answer you give for most questions.
You've got the same heed.
And it's no Lee Wallace.
Well, stamp.
Go then. Go then, Tam.
Nah, you
Go
go
Tam.
for it. I'll go Hamill.
Incorrect.
Oh.
Corbett.
Darren Barr.
Correct.
Fuck. I got it wrong.
Never
And
mentioned Darren
final
Barr,
one.
my puff.
Okay, and that's why I didn't know what they were talking about, so I was like,
Jim.
all right.
Jim.
Aye.
Yeah, and he didn't just get that from Liam L in the chat. So
I got it from the Cypriot club before the Dundee United team,
Yeah.
so get it.
your auntie's arse, no chance, man.
Get up, you big bloater heat. Oh,
Fuck
When
it.
did we?
I created
What
you,
game
Shanks.
did
I
we
will
see
fucking.
Auntie Norma?
I seen her
When
the
did
other
she
week.
feature?
Hibs away in the cup.
Hibs away.
That's right. Aye.
So Hibs one of the only ones getting fucked. Yeah.
See, it was so bad. It was one of the ones. It was like she's walking up the stairs. I was like, Dad, turn around and say it. I was like, all right, how's it going? No, I didn't bother because I'm a horrible cunt. Oh shit! I my own self in here. Oops.
Fuck's sake, we're going to make £1.57.
Nah, we'll be all right. So it seems to be all right when we're live. It's just it's just when you upload it with the word in, it goes through the filter, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, a couple of things in the group chat. The YouTube chat. Craig, no surname, says Shanks, your baldy banger, kiss. I don't know if you've maybe bought my macaroni pie over the last couple of weeks or something.
He definitely got a macaroni pie.
There we go.
He looks like he could handle 2 macaroni pies.
Someone called Vault K. Is Corbett wearing the Craig Nelson goalie top? ? I'll leave that one alone. And then Lou MCC. Oh, excuse me. How's Paul Breach got a limited edition Gorgie half zip?
Mate, this Paul Breach guy. Honestly, if anybody wants to murder this man, please. Please. I will, whatever money we make from this YouTube video, is yours. You can have it. You can have it.
That'll be about 75 pence.
Killing me.
Yeah, an interesting comment. So, Jim McDowell, again, my arch nemesis, fuck you, Jim, has asked the question, has Tam got a swastika armband on?
Excuse me?
It's because he has a little moustache on it.
Aye.
Because he has moustache on it.
He's Adolf Armadale.
Adolf Armadale, like last week,
I don't think you can even say the word Adolf on YouTube without getting cancelled, so let's just pie that right off.
It's a name
that shape that we just said a minute ago, we probably shouldn't say that either. But
that features no different things, but that's a different conversation.
Yes.
We actually, very in the rabbit holes that we go down, we actually had a good segue. We have 2 good segues to go through. One was to talk about the Starner tie-in, which will have live and offers and all that sort of stuff and some proper information on it in the next podcast or whatever. And then obviously the Nightwood thing we've tied in with Starner today, the Henry Smith range. My absolute hero. I would lie and say I never planned it or had any part in it, but that'd be absolute bollocks because you can expect to see loads of Henry Smith tops in the near future. And the other segue was Arnold Hume, because actually when Stephen Humphrys scores his wonder goal, what's missed is the fact that Hume about 3 times tries to smash him before he scores, and it brings me on to some of the headlines for the week, and we might as well start there, is injuries versus Dundee United. When I'd never even noticed or thought about how hammer throwers they were, but every opportunity, and I tweeted after the game on Saturday that credit where credit's due to Stephen Fletcher. I thought Stephen Fletcher run us absolute ragged until they went down to 10 men, but at every opportunity, he left one on Xander Clark, he left one on Andy Halliday, left one on Kai Rouse, Sibic. Every time he went 50-50 or went for the ball, he does the dark arts, Kev, like leave the elbow, leave the foot. He just does it just enough to never to really be a booking. But we've seen what happened with Gordon and stuff. Have they always been like that at Dundee United? Is this a new thing?
Nah, they've battled us a bit a while. Sorry if that was for Kev, by the way.
No, sure. It's you steamrolling it back.
Yeah, well, there you go. We'll call it one each. I'll shut up now. Sorry, Kev, on you go.
I was just going to. Is that? I don't think it's a long-term thing. I don't think it's something that's been happening for years, but it has happened over the last couple of seasons. I think we're into double figures. Was it the last game against Dundee United up at Tannadice last season? There was like 4 people taken off. And then, of course, we had Gordon at Christmas Eve, Kingsley on Christmas Eve, Halkett on Christmas Eve. Aye, absolute hammer throwers. But, of course, they'll be upset with that, so they need to organise some form of walk.
Mate, it's funny that Hearts are back as a proper club now that everybody hates us that isn't Hearts fans, and I love it. I remember when I used to work in shops, I remember talking to like a Falkirk fan. Falkirk, right? Other than the Kelpies, who fucking cares about Falkirk? And I remember talking to one of them, and he said something about supporting Falkirk, and I was like, I'm a Hearts fan or something, and he went on some mad rant about John Cahoon diving in 1987 or something like that. I was like, mate, it's fucking 2007. Like, why are you still carrying that about with you? Like, what? It was like he was just waiting for somebody to bring up Hearts so that he could rant on it. But it's good, we've got this weird fake rivalry with St Mirren, Aberdeen. We've obviously got our fantastic rivalry with Hibs because they are the gift that keeps on giving.
Motherwell and all, that's another one.
Motherwell, Livingston, but that's because of these 2 knobheads on this podcast and their Libby connection.
Stephen Humphrys just winding him up about a pitch, which is great.
Aye. Oh, look at you all upset and salty about it because he slagged your pitch. Look
You said it was great, you're fine.
Aye, of course you did. Look at you actual raging because he slagged your pitch. But it did annoy me about that. VR, might as well talk about it. Shanks, we were at the game. I don't know about you, but how we got a throw in real time, it was as clear a day a red card as you'll ever see. Why did that have to go to VR?
Aye, and the amount of time it took as well. But the one thing that I think had the medical team had come on, I think it'd have been swifter. But it was almost like when you watch it back, Halliday did make a lot of it when you watch the replay, but nobody really seemed to react apart from him. It was just it was nuts, but it did look reckless, and he definitely, clearly we thought he left one on him, but nobody round about really made much of a fuss. So it does go to show that the referee does get swayed by more than just the actual incident.
What do you mean, like, so if folk had actually reacted, the ref might have...
I just felt it was just like really tame, like it almost went under the radar, like it was a bit of a non-event, like the fans never really reacted. I don't think the players round about him really lost the plot. Medical team weren't interested. Halliday was down, but I think it was because it was Halliday. It was like oh well, he'll be sound, he'll get up, it's all right. But at the time, like when you seen it, I was a bit like, it was a bit of a hard one. But it didn't really feel like much was going to come of it. And then clearly, as time went on, you were thinking, all right, okay, here we go. But then, usually when it starts to take that length of time for the decision to come through, you realise that something's going to happen. So,
well,
I think you're being too kind to Nick Walsh there.
I was going to
just missed that.
maybe the difference of the 10 rows that I sit behind you in G, because everybody around me erupted that it was quite clearly a red card, and the fact that he gave a throw in, he went over and looked at Halliday, who was showing him the fact that he has big studs down his leg.
On his leg.
He went over, looked at that, and told him to get up. Basically, told him to get up, and then he was trying to get Hearts to get on with the throw in or whatever, and then obviously Halliday wouldn't let it go and was like kept going around and talking to the ref and showing him his leg, and then obviously again he then goes over and watches VR and takes 4 minutes to come to the decision that it's quite clearly a red card. Like, it was a red card at the time. It should have took 2 seconds to look on the screen and went, aye, no, that's a red card.
Because they appealed it as well, eh?
Well, they have, but the process, as far as I'm aware, is like because he has basically said, it's a throw-in or whatever. It's VAR have looked at it for foul, as a foul for like serious misconduct, dangerous play, whatever the fucking charges that they call it these days, and then they've said, go and look at this. But and that's fair enough. If he's missed it because his eyes have been drawn somewhere else, then fine, I get it. But it happens all too often with him. Right, I didn't want to get down the whole rabbit hole that we had with certain referees no liking us. Like you go back to the fucking dawn of time. Les Mottram was a fucking one that always hated their guts. Kev, you'll remember that. Corbett, you'll probably just remember it. But Nick Walsh has to. I'm not claiming conspiracy or anything like that at all. But that guy is an absolute fucking idiot and needs to go through some sort of retrain. Because even if you watch him in other games, he misses a lot.
Aye, and I think that's the big thing that VR's highlighting is the fact that like the Nicky Clark red card at Ibrox, for example, everything's too after the fact. Like, the damage was done to St Johnstone. It's at the time we get the sending off. It impacts the game massively. But again, on Saturday, Dundee United are always going to thing with that as put an appeal in. It costs nothing to put the appeal in, and if they say no, they say no. What they've got to lose, he's going to be banned for the game anyway. But I just felt at the time it was just horrible. And the other thing too was the Gino thing was stupid, right, at the end. But I can get what Gino was doing because they were 1-0 up in 9 minutes or whatever it was. They literally took every single bye kick for the other side of the park. They kicked the ball. If there was 2 balls on the park, they made sure that the ball was kicked into the middle of the park rather than kicked off the park. They went down for every slight challenge. They time wasted left, right and centre. And then when we're winning and we're in 7 minutes of stoppage time, Gino takes a wee bit of time over a throw and then gets booked and then claps because he thinks, right, I fucking no bother. Like, you've let them away with it all day and now you've booked me and then send them off. Now, I get it.
He was hurrying Clark up as well to take by kicks. It wasn't even just the Gino thing. It was a fucking joke.
Aye.
See the Gino one, right? See, just for that. Now, I've not watched it back, and I've not watched the highlights program on the BBC yet either. But and maybe one of you can tell me. But when the ball goes out for a throw, and Gino seems to walk towards the ball, but then there's someone else, I can't remember who it is, who's also walking towards the ball. Is that who it is, right? Gino picks up the ball and then goes like that and throws it to the feet of Shankland as if to say, you take the throw in or whatever, right? How's that time wasting? The two of them are both going at the same speed. He gets there and just goes, right, fine, fuck it, you take it. That's not a yellow card.
They did piss about a wee bit before that, but you're right, it was they kind of waited to get the ball, then wandered the boot and then wandered back and then threw it to Shankland. But if you actually watch the sequence, when the ref's coming over, Gino's already clapping whilst the referee's reaching to book him the first time. So I'm like, right. And then he obviously books him again and then claims, there was nothing I can do about it. But again, it's just inconsistencies that are just ruining the game. And like you said, at the game you're clueless as to what's actual happening. And
it was Nick Walsh that sent Gino off against Rangers.
Aye.
It's like he's got a personal vendetta against either Gino or the club.
Let's not use the word vendetta or conspiracy.
The other thing someone actually tweeted, which was quite good, is that again it's that interpretation of the law or knowing the law, is saying that folk have to stop making the argument that he's won the ball. That's not an argument anymore. It doesn't matter whether you win the ball or not. It's whether you're in control of your body or if you're reckless, etc.
It's not been a rule for 5 years.
And that ticks all the boxes. So that was our moan about VAR.
A couple of things in the group chat just on this before we move on. Scottish TV Gold. Feel like I should know who that is, but I maybe don't. Says compare Gino's 2 bookings against Morelos last Wednesday night, who never even got a yellow. Andy Dixon, fairly good point as well. Simple fact, they're part-time referees, make them full-time, make them spend the week between games working on making sure they're as good as they can be. Andy, that's a very, very sensible point. We'll have none of that on this podcast. No, thank you very much.
No, but the Morelos thing, always bugs me, right? Like, you go on any page now, they'll have picture after picture of Hearts fans getting right up Morelos as he's scored or whatever, but he does it every single time he comes to Tynecastle. He will celebrate in front of the home fans, then he'll walk back and then he'll turn and he'll gesture, all this stuff. You're not supposed to do that. Remember, Rudy Scatchell got booked every single time he scored the goal for doing that and pointing to his shoe. They booked him every single time he did it for doing that stupid pointing thing and then his finger. And Morelos is standing doing that to the fans and doing this and all that. And it's like, fine. But again, that's just that's Celtic stuff, isn't it? But that's what we're all about. Other headlines: loads of young guys being told they don't have a future at the club. Kev, I know you love this topic. What's your thoughts on it?
I mean, I'll admit I've not actually went and seen or watched any of the young lads play. However, a lot of the young lads that we have seen come into the first team, unfortunately, just haven't been to the same level as the players we've already got in there. I know my brothers went and watched a few of the games and has came away from a lot of them, even after victories, saying they're not good enough. You know, they're maybe not strong enough physically, or they just don't have, certain abilities. And that then we can say, and again, I think there was a question or a statement in the YouTube chat that is asking the question about five young lads being released. Does it mean we need to actually improve our youth system? Yes is probably the answer to that. A quick answer. But it's not something that just happens over a summer or over one season. It's a progression. But that progression just simply hasn't been there over the last probably 5 or 6 years, maybe even longer than that, since the days of Patterson, Walker, Nicholson, those kind of guys, even Billy King, Dale Carrick, those guys coming through from that team. And they were forced upon the club because of financial elements. So I think there is definitely work to be done in that side of things. But as I say, the guys that have been released, unfortunately, I think just they're just not at the right level at this time. Maybe they've not been pushed far enough, I don't know.
Right. Ando.
With this one, I get what you're saying, Kev, but you almost have to fight a battle on two fronts when you're a club like Hearts, right? So you have to put together a team that's competitive to deal with everyone around you, but then you also, as you rightly say, need to invest in the youth development. But I'll be honest, I don't think Hearts are set up or have the resources to be able to fight that battle on two fronts. I think if we the youth academy is what it is. Like you're getting all these players through it, right? And if one or two of them come good over the course of maybe 3, 4, 5 years, then fine. Do you take that? But like you could pour more money into youth development, but then ultimately at the end of the day, something's going to suffer. I don't think we've got the bottomless pit of resources to be able to put a brilliant team on the park that challenges for Europe and also have a prize-winning youth academy. It's very, very difficult to do.
But you probably have to. Sorry, I was going to say judge it in 5 years because the building blocks are in place now. The changes were made last season. I can't mind the names of the guys that came in, but Savage has brought his guys in that he's wanted to bring in and got rid of the deadwood that we've had for years. So I think judge it once that sees a bit of fruition and then see what goes on.
Luke Rathy, Ethan Drysdale. I think that's the only two that I can mention from the youth squad that I've seen in print anywhere. But shame to see them go. But ultimately, if you don't make the grade, you need to be ruthless with these things. It's not a charity.
But also, I think Hearts have always got a bit of a false perspective when it comes to that because, like you just said, the names that you mention, Walker, Nickerson, Patterson, King, Mackay, all these folk, we didn't have any choice but to play them. They had no choice, and it sounds horrible to tar them with that brush, but they ultimately were relegated with those players there. And don't get me wrong, they came back up through the Championship. The nucleus of that team realistically was still there, but as soon as we came back into the top flight, they skimmed it out so that we could bring in experienced players, etc., etc. So I think our perspective's a bit wrong when it comes to that. But also the other thing, and it's not just a Hearts thing, there's no reserve league anymore. So the guys are coming through only playing youth team football, and the step up between youth team football and first team football is massive, and we've seen it ourselves. Ewan Henderson romps it in a Championship whenever he goes down there. Just doesn't look good enough for Hearts when he's here. And we've had the same reports say like your Scott McGill's, like we've seen Finlay Pollock looks like a great talent, etc., etc. So it feels like it's a Hearts problem, and we've highlighted it before. But I think it's a football problem. If you look through most teams, very rarely do you see them have an endless supply of amazing young players that can come in and take you to the next level. So sad to see them go, as Ando says, but I'm not overly worried about it. Well, Shanks, I'll come to you since me and you were the only folk at the game. Is that the best goal you've seen at Tynecastle?
Aye, Shankland's goal was a belter, right?
Some penalty, I
thought he'd made a Hibs it, but he did well, so really well taken. So I left on the 95th minute and missed everything.
Of course you did.
Not better at all. I had to make a pickup of a small child, so I'm still raging at him. He's kind of dead to me at the moment, but it's fine. I've watched it back.
Do we think it's the best goal we've seen at Tynecastle, Kev?
Best strike I've seen at Tynecastle. Maybe not the best goal.
Nice. Bad foot as well.
Yeah, I think definitely the best strike. And there's probably been very few better strikes than that, especially given distance, bad foot, etc., etc. So there's been other goals that, from a footballing point, I think are not better in any particular way as such, but I still always say the Ricardo Fuller goal against Motherwell when he effectively beats about 8 players and then rolls into the net. Still one of my favourite goals that I've seen.
Aye. But I always think about the Bordeaux goals because they were absolutely outrageous. Connor, who was it? Connor Ronan, or who was the person that scored for St Mirren last year?
I was.
Yeah.
An absolute belter as well. It's something you just got to go, Jesus, that is an absolute peach.
Austin McCann versus Celtic, just because of what it meant. That was a fucking hell, man. Like,
Aye, that was
ball boy season.
Aye, that was a belter there.
Oh, pitch side.
Aye, that was a belter there goal as well.
No takeaway for the.
But
did you miss it as well though?
Oh. Did I miss it?
I was eating a macaroni pie.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, macaroni
actually, on that, RK, I don't know if Shanks, I don't know if you know who RK is. Shanks on their macaroni pies tonight? Question mark. Nah, probably cappuccino and red wine is normal. We've got an interloper in the chat as well, Rab552, who is waving and says, "Hi from League One." Anyone want to take a guess at who that might be?
Sharp,
somebody who's been on
It's
here.
obviously Big Rab the Pars fan, isn't it? So
we got a clothing deal and he's coming straight back.
Exactly. Just checking in on my old pals. Miss yous. I'm like, same goes, dude. Don't worry, you're welcome back on anytime.
I forgot about them, Fairman.
Only when you're in the Premier League, that is, Rab.
Not just a shite place on a map. They're an actual football team. I forgot about that. To be fair to Big Rab, it was Big Rab that we wouldn't have any merch if it wasn't for Big Rab, because it was him that put us in touch with Mikey that runs Starna, so he can get a shout out. Well done, Rab. We do miss you as well, because you've got a good part. What were we going to say there before we said?
Brilliant goals.
Still talking about Humphrys' goal.
Humphrys' goal, that was it.
How could you forget? You've only watched it 147 times since this morning.
Well, we'll talk about the Dundee United game in length in a minute or whatever, but that's the thing I like the most about Humphrys is Humphrys, probably Shankland, but the only two players on our team that would probably have a shot. That's how it feels. Humphrys, when he came on, maybe had about 4 or 5 shots, and that was. It sounds really stupid to say because obviously the first half was turgid at points, but at least when he started to shoot, it felt like it encouraged us to be a bit more positive. You know, you've got guys like Barry Mackay, etc., George Grant, Cammy Devlin, Snodgrass, that didn't shoot. They get loads and loads of opportunities in terms of the space opens up for them, and you think you're 20 yards out, 25 yards out, like every now and again, just shoot. You could get a deflection and it can go in. You could score a worldie, whatever. Like, no every goal. We've spoke about this at length before about the feeling that every goal has to be a Puskas Award winner. Like it almost like they talk to each other. How many passes has it been? How have we done this, that, and the other? And like the second goal on Saturday kind of highlights that. Takes we win the ball back in the right back area and spread it about and end up with a reverse no look pass for Barry Mackay and Cochrane finishing it, and it's brilliant. So Humphrys scored a worldie on Saturday, but I think he made a massive difference just for the fact that he's willing to shoot as well. So
also gets the crowd up as well when you've got somebody who's taking on players and just going for the goal, and that helps, doesn't it?
And that was the big thing I think you noticed with Barry Mackay. As soon as we brought Cochrane on and somebody willing to go buy him and offer him an option on that side, he had his man beat every single time he got the ball. Yeah. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to stick or twist with him.
Had a very good second half, to be fair. It was really good.
Aye.
Two funny things about Humphrys' goal is firstly Shankland, who is running past him on his left hand side, like screaming for the ball, and then you see him shoot, and you can see Shankland go through his head going, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Aye.
And then if you look at it from the other angle, all you see is Cool with his hands up in the air, knowing perfectly well this is hitting the back of the net.
Aye.
The two of them are absolutely superb.
It is one of those weird things. As soon as it left his foot, you knew it was in. Like, it sounds really mad to say, but as soon you knew that it wasn't a duffer. You can tell by the keeper's reaction. As soon as he hit it, oh shit, I'm done. Yeah,
You also know that
he couldn't wait to reply to Laurie on Twitter and say that he was right-footed. He's clearly no, but he's like, definitely.
He's been sitting on there waiting to get that comment in. Like, anything else happening in the week, Hearts? That we want to talk about? Any other headlines or anything?
Nope.
None I can think of.
Quiet week.
Good. Actually, just because unless any of you want to talk about Rangers, the Rangers game.
Good. As Kev said, nope.
Don't see any point.
Other than that, I just think it just highlights, and so did the first half on Saturday, how much I think we missed Devlin. I think we've just not learned how to play with that kind of ambiguity that we're just not used to because he's such a stalemate in the team. Somebody help me with the word.
You were so good there with ambiguity, and then you say stalemate in the team.
Stalemate. I thought what? Actually, we could quash a bit of a myth that kicks about Kev, and I don't know if it's I don't know what the happy medium is or whether it needs to be, but Robbie set up to have a go on Wednesday. That was his plan, and we got popped and battered. You look at our home games this season, we've conceded 4 goals or 3 or more goals against Istanbul, Fiorentina, Celtic, and Rangers twice. And it's that point that folk, fair enough, I get it. When we're away from home, we're a bit more reserved about it, but from home, we've set up and tried to have a go. And I don't know, I'm not saying we play 4-6-0 and we've become compact and hard to beat, but folk can't say Robbie doesn't have a go in these games, because that is exactly what Wednesday was.
Yeah, it definitely was. It's one of those cases that you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So if he sits back and we do have that, 6-4 lose, we go, why did we not have a bollocks? So we do have that defensive minded sort of setup, and we come away with a 1-0 defeat. You go, why did you not have a shot? Why did you not? It was a free hit. Go and set up a bit more offensively. Then when we do set up offensively, and I do think that we didn't get it right because we didn't have enough midfielders in the team last Wednesday night, and it ends up 3-0, 4-0, whatever. Then he still gets absolutely slayed for it. So it's a tough one. But hey, we said it last week. It was a free hit, and we tried it. It didn't work. So those folk that do have a pop at him can maybe take a back seat for a minute.
But Ando, the thing that was pretty evident from the absolute start of the game, which is what enraged me, because I'm like, go have a go and you get beat, be free. You get beat, be free. It's fine, but go have a go. Within 15-20 seconds of the game kicking off, you could see that we had no idea where we're supposed to be. You had Snodgrass pointing at folk. We're playing passes into spaces with name on whiz. Folk were almost running into each other. It was comical watching how unorganised in our structure we were.
Aye, and the bit that was infuriating, I think, is the best word. It's like, right, it was almost a case of, right, well, we'll just leave it for a wee while, and see if they can naturally get it to work. That it's a balancing act, I suppose. How long do you leave it before you go, actually, this isn't fucking working? You have to give it longer than the first fucking 20 seconds. But one of the ones that you need to be more reactive, I think, in these scenarios, and that for me was the bit that was ultimately a bit majorly annoying. Fucking wasted my day. But yeah,
we had a situation where they'd almost scored, then they got a corner, then they missed a sitter, then they did score and then it was offside, and then they ran us again and got another chance, and there was a point where it bounced and Stephen Kingsley could have headed the ball back to Xander Clark. He never. Then he let it bounce again, and he could have kneed it back to Xander Clark, and he never. He let it bounce again, and by the time he let it bounce again, he was now pressed and half volleyed it back to Xander Clark, who had now no time whatsoever, had to try and hit a half volley, hopefully up the park, etc. Hingwe's it straight out the park for a throw in. They throw the ball and get a corner and score, and I was like, I'm away. Like, this is absolute comical stuff.
See, another thing is the mentality as well, which is, right, I don't know what it is, right? And like, you see it in the past when we played like lesser teams, and you use the phrase bogey team, right? Like you it can't be your bogey team if they're like arguably a lot better than you and bigger than you and constantly fucking beat you. So they're not a bogey team in that sense, but they've got some sort of hoodoo over us. I don't know if it's a psychology thing. Even like, we've had more results against Celtic recently than we have against Rangers, and it pains me to say this, but Celtic are a better team than Rangers by a distance, by a massive distance, and yet we can't go to their bit, give them a game, and when they come to ours, we can't give them a game. It just, we shit the bed every single time. And whether it's a combination of trying different things that ultimately don't work, and I know I was away off camera for a minute there, but I caught the tail end of it. If you try something and it doesn't work, fine, you can live with that. But don't leave it so long until you realise it's not going to work. It seems futile.
Right. Shanks.
You're going to regret saying that. So I'm going to absolutely get torn apart for this. But Civic, my hero. Can't wait for my Jan T poster to arrive in the post. But against Rangers and the first half on Saturday, I was crying out in a group chat for Hill in the back three and Mikey Smith back in that lineup. I just think he was walking so many times, he just couldn't handle the ball over the top, kept missing his man, passes just penetrating us through. I don't know, is it just me? But it just felt like in those kind of game and a half, different player. Not saying that Hill was brilliant. He made a bit of an arse a couple of times. Didn't cover himself in glory, but yeah, Atkinson, not interested, but be good to see Smith back available as and when we need him. I'm talking shite. Anybody agree, disagree?
Talking utter shite. But I agree. I didn't think Kye Rowles covered himself in glory on Saturday. If I'm being honest with you, I don't think either of the back three, Hill, Civic, or Rowles, could handle Stephen Fletcher. Stephen Fletcher literally won every single ball in there. Didn't matter who he was up against, and it was boiling my blood. It was doing my head in.
It was exactly the same in the game on Christmas Eve. Fletcher won every single header, no matter who he was up against, whether it be Rowles, whether it be Civic. He didn't go up against the header with Halkett because he went off after only 4 minutes.
Right.
But it was as you said earlier on, Fletcher he's that centre forward. He's quite clever in regards to the way in which he applies himself. But we couldn't handle him in that first game back on Christmas Eve, and I'm not surprised to hear that we also struggled against them on Saturday.
We got caught too many times where we just didn't know whether to stick or go with him or whatever, and he ran us ragged or whatever, which was annoying. I don't think any of the back three started the game very well on Saturday, so it's a valid point, Shanks, but I don't think Civic's the
you've slaughtered me.
The sole root of the problem, but
it's annoying with Stephen Fletcher in particular because he's nothing but a shit old man now, and yeah,
talking of shit old man, I thought what's his puss, Mr. Celtic at the back, won absolutely everything in the air for them. Could not compete with that at all, and it just reminded me of the sort of performances that Halkett used to put in. Well, who am I talking about? What's his name?
Charlie Mulgrew.
Aye. Disappeared after 60 minutes, but
that's because
prior to that.
Well, that's because we stopped punting the ball forward to no one up front. There's another thing that we need to talk about. I love Shanklin. It's a miracle Shanklin scored the amount of goals that he has, because week on week he's getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and we play our best stuff when he's up front. That's what we need. He's brilliant. That's not me slaughtering him. He's brilliant in those positions, and he's a proper centre forward. He's a total handful. But you're punting the ball up front and asking Gino to go win a header v Charlie Mulgrew, or you're asking whoever else is up there to go win headers. It's not going to work. It's totally and utterly pointless. It's daft. And like you said, as soon as we sort of change shape and reverted back to having the people where we wanted them to be in the 3-4-3 system thing, we started to play pretty well. But again, you've got to talk about the fact that how much does the red card impact that? They were doubling up. They sat somebody on Snodgrass, 2 people on him every single time, stopped them playing, double up on Mackay when the ball goes out wide, and you've pretty much stopped Hearts in their tracks in it. So that's where we are there.
Defer to a couple of comments on YouTube. Colin Marshall getting his knickers in a twist here. Not everything comes off. Give us an edit button, YouTube, for fuck's sake. I can only assume that's in response to Shanks' comment about Civic because it's way off. But so some other comments in there, and cycle back a bit about the great goals we were talking about earlier on. But Colin Marshall also saying Devlin sets the tempo with his energy, covers usually 1.5 players, only Benny comes close to that. For me, if no Devlin, Grant needs to play. He's rash, not everything comes off. but at least his body shape is always forward, and that's a good point.
Yeah,
I definitely agree with you, Coco.
I agree as well.
Surely due a start, isn't he? Do you know how after he's did even come on at Rangers? I've blanked that out, but he played all right at Livingston, and then the second half there he was decent.
But I think, like you said, you've made a good point. He needs to wise up. I think he plays the game well, etc. But he needs to wise up to the Scottish game here. He's been booked like 4 times for diving or something now. He needs to.
Is it 3 red cards as well in his career at Hearts? 3 or 2?
2, I think. Zurich and then Motherwell one. Did the Motherwell? No, that didn't get rescinded.
No, it didn't.
No. But I like George Grant. I think he's a good fit whipper. I like a bit about him. I don't like seeing Alan Forrest playing wing back and all that sort of stuff. I think it's totally pointless.
So ineffective.
He's not good at it.
It's not his position. It's not ineffective. It's not his position.
Just add that it's also not Gino's. Exactly, it's not his position.
Gino's not a right back. Forrest isn't a right back. And again, I think that paints the picture as what you said earlier, Shanks, about Atkinson is clearly not trusted.
He's dead, mate. That's it.
It's basically how it feels, isn't it? And that's exactly what it is. Last, before we move on, we'll talk about Dundee United in a wee bit more depth. I just want to tell you about the Rangers game, because things that did annoy me, and folk need to remember this, and I'll stick up for them at every point, is that the Gorgie Ultras didn't have a section in Tynecastle, right? Folk need to understand that. There's about 15 boys in Section N and about 10 boys in Section G. What the fuck are they supposed to do? Like, they have a section. They can only start songs. If folk didn't join in, folk didn't join in. What are they meant to do? That's why it's so different for away games when everybody's there and everybody joins in. Blaming them for Wednesday, saying, "Where are you?" It's like, what the fuck would you want them to do? They're like in one row in Section N versus 1,800 folk in the away end that sing along with every single song that comes in. So that did my head in. I was sitting in the Sainsbury's car park reading those comments, fucking fizzing, being like, what bit of that do you not understand? There isn't a section in this.
Another thing
you went
as
missing
well.
off Twitter for a week, so that worked well.
Completely understandable, I might add. So that's absolutely fine. But you can't sit and moan about then, oh, where were you? Right? There's this some fucking weapon that sits behind Kevin Shanks and I. That every single game, it should have been 10. Like, oh, that just does absolutely nothing, right? So,
see, when you sit behind, do you mean Shanks beside you?
No, that's the Kujabe song. That's Shanks. He's not famous for the.
Yeah,
it should have been 10. Yes, that okay, fair enough. Right.
So Dundee United game, obviously, it was pretty dire stuff. The first half time. Again, I've seen today Shanklin sort of talking about trust the process and stay patient and stuff. And I think we highlighted it in the last week's podcast or whatever, being like, I didn't understand. You're a 10-match unbeaten run and you go in at half time 0-0 at Livingston and they get booed off. Then like that stuff. Wednesday's different because we were a shambles on Wednesday. We were all over the place on Wednesday. And we were all over the place for the first 45 minutes on Saturday. But sometimes I go to question what are our expectations as Hearts fans. Is it if we're not winning 3-0, do we boo them off until they come back and win 4-3 or whatever? Like, it just feels mental, doesn't it?
I didn't get it, man. You know me though, I'm a happy clapper. Like, I'll clap away regardless. Nah. But especially at that point when they're down to 10 men, and in terms of the process, you see how we finished the game in terms of what subs we made. Like, fair play to Robbie, like, he nailed it there. He's probably had a more attacking lineup than what he started with in the Rangers game, and it worked better. But it's our big game players had to show up, and that's when they showed up in the second half, and they didn't even turn up in the first.
Aye. Kev, does the red card change the game, or do you have faith in the team that even 11v11 we would have came back and got a result?
I think to an extent it does, and I think it's the time of the actual red card itself. So it happens just before. It gives us a bit of time before half time, and then gives us that 15 minutes in the changing room to properly actually discuss what changes are going to be made. I'm guessing that the subs that came on after 60 minutes, which is Robbie's normal, have been told that, you know, this is what you're expected to do. It also sometimes works anyway for you when you go down against 10 men. You've got that extra man on the pitch. I didn't see that from the highlights that I've watched on Hearts TV, that it looked like that. So, no, I don't think I would have actually been that... I would have that much faith in the team that was actually playing at the time to actually go on and win the game. But I do think that the actual changes that Nielsen made at the times in which he made it, or made them, definitely made a massive difference. Bringing Humphreys on meant that we came a lot more offensive, and we've spoke about his ability to shoot left, right, and centre. But that element is, I think, the actual sending off does change the mentality of the team, but not for a good, what was 30 minutes of the game.
Tam?
Well, I would say the biggest thing the red card meant was they stopped doubling up on Snodgrass, as a lot of teams have done recently, and it stopped us from playing. They didn't have that extra man to sort of double up. Humphreys came on, and they meant they had to look at him as well, and I think that was the biggest change for me. It made we could actually keep possession a bit more.
It's the same. Sorry.
On you go.
No, I was just because it's always the same when a Diddy team gets a man sent off. They fall back and become far more rigid, and become a lot more difficult to break down. So in that sense, it does change the game. But I think in answer to your original question, I'll be honest, I absolutely trusted in that team to go ahead and get the business done, with or without them being down to 10 men.
Shanks, the mood in the stadium was a bit different. I was apoplectic with rage, and I think it summed up how Hearts were playing. That they have their centre half sent off 30 minutes or 25 minutes into the game. They never made a single substitution.
Didn't make any difference, did it? They just slipped back into the 4-4-1. The biggest thing in the first half, I thought, is we just could not break them down. Complete negative play. Every single ball went back. Couldn't penetrate anything. Couldn't string more than 2 passes together. That never changed when they went down to 10. So it was just almost they went back into that 4-4-1, and they were quite happy with Fletcher playing the Daniel Kuzan running about daft up front in Europe. See what happens. And it felt like they would have just seen it out. So, aye. The best bit is the tail end of the first half was my dad saying, "Who's that boy there, the captain?" I said, "That's Lawrence Shankland." And he went, "Oh, aye, he's no fucking tall enough, is he? He's no good enough because he can't win any headers." So that was my highlight. Having to educate him on who Lawrence Shankland was. That was cool.
Well, it's good. I can see where you get your football knowledge from.
Correct. So. Correct. My granny was well good at teaching me football.
But
I'm saying it right now, man. I'm moving next season. I'm coming up the back with you, Corbett. Fuck it.
You're right. It never made any difference, and I don't know what it was about the first half. If it was a nervousness or whatever it was. The good thing was that, like Robbie, what he said after the game, but you could see him in the game as well, was on the touchline, was he was furious at how slow the passes were. He was furious that they were constantly going backwards. He was constantly shouting at folk to move, offer, come for the ball. And again, Kev, we've spoken about this before. We've spoken about the Naismith syndrome, right? And then you start to see it when we're at our absolute worst. Everything. And Snodgrass demands the ball, but also we have like a nervousness where it's almost like Toby Sibic would have the ball at his feet, coming out of defence, and would play Snodgrass a pass when Snodgrass was 4 yards in front of him, and Snodgrass would pass him it back. But what was the point in that? Like, no, every single thing that we do has to go through Snodgrass.
It's like an unwritten rule that everything has to go through him. And as Tam's mentioned, you have mentioned, probably most of us have mentioned, if you double up on Snodgrass, it takes away that element. It takes away that penetration that you can get from him. And from that point of view, you then ask the question, should we have maybe done a little bit more work in the transfer market in January to get another sort of creative midfielder in? It's an argument that you could probably have in the pub. But that is the sort of element of it, is that as soon as you double up on Snodgrass, and because so much does go through him, from that point of view, we start to lose a little bit of our edge. You think, again, do we have a plan B when that happens? Didn't look like it on the highlights I saw for Saturday's game.
Well, I think Colin in the comments made the best point. Is I think Snodgrass really misses having Cammy Devlin or someone in there that's got energy, that can get busy in and around the folk that are trying to double up on him, etc., etc. And I think that was absolutely evident on Saturday as well. Shanks.
I was just going to say, so is there more going through the middle at the moment and more pressure on the likes of Snodgrass and missing Devlin because you've got that kind of uncertainty at left back now? So we've had that stability where Kingsley knows that he's been part of that back three, and we've got Cochrane in there and they've got that good partnership. But as you start to tinker with that and play about with your back three and put Kingsley back in that wing back position, he's only 28, but it's kind of messing about with that kind of stability that we've had at the left. We know we've been a wee bit kind of had quite a lot of ambiguity at the right back position for a while, but we've always had that consistency on the left. Now it feels like we're kind of disjointed on both sides, and then you've got everything now on Snodgrass's shoulders. So as you kept kind of pointing out, now that we don't have that stability again in Devlin, as soon as you set a man on Snoddy, you've completely nullified our foundational attack.
Well, it's not. The Kingsley argument's a good argument because Kingsley's not been anywhere near how good he's been pre. You'll always find it will take, however long they were off injured, it'll take you about that amount of time for them to get back to where they were pre-injury. But you're right. I think the biggest difference that we've seen in the team was when Cochrane came in, and Cochrane was starting to go by. Mackay was starting to get forward, was starting to burst into spaces, and was just a threat and occupied, maybe not a person, but he started to make Dundee United think about where they needed to go, and I don't think we get that from Kingsley when he's there, if you know what I mean. So I kind of agree. I also think that just because the type of player Snodgrass just wants the ball. It's what he wants. He wants to be involved. He wants to get passes, etc. Tam, I was going to ask, why is Snodgrass not taking corners anymore? Why we went back to Barry Mackay's corners?
I did actually wonder that myself. Obviously, even both sides as well.
Both sides it's Barry Mackay now.
No idea. He's got the best delivery in the club.
He took a couple on Saturday.
Needs to sort it like.
Needs to do all of them, to be honest.
Well, if he did, it was few and far between because Barry Mackay kept taking them, and I was getting more and more annoyed with Mr. Barry Mackay, as everybody that sits next to me knows. I was getting annoyed. But again, you talk about let's talk about Barry Mackay, Andel, because he is a total enigma. Posted missing on Wednesday. You could argue posted missing in the derbies, but you look at the 30 minutes of the remainder of the game on Saturday, and when he gets in that mood and he starts to be like that, it's why Robbie keeps him on. It's why he plays over Forrest. It's why he gets sort of, or feels like he gets more opportunity to do something than the rest, because when he does start to do something and when it does start to come off for him, he's unplayable, isn't he?
Definitely. I think what we have seen is that in I say games against arguably bigger opposition, he's just, this is a wanky thing to say, but he's consistently inconsistent. He never ever actually can just play at the same standard, and that's what annoys me. It's like you never know what Barry Mackay is going to turn up on any given day. See, you rightly called it. When he's in the mood and he's firing on all cylinders, then you know what? No one's getting past him. No one's stopping him. And you rightly say he's absolutely unplayable. But there's the opposite side to that, which is, see if things aren't going against you. Things are going against you. Things aren't going for him. Then it can often be found in the doldrums, and that's what's so annoying, is that he's set very, very high standards for himself, and I think we've all set high standards for him, and when he doesn't meet that, then that's when it becomes a little bit difficult to take. But I'm going to stop short and say that he's not just one of these guys that's a fair weather player, because he can dig us out of a situation, but it's one of those ones. Sometimes it can be a coin flip, and that's what annoys me the most about him.
Time. Shankland scores again. He's got 3 more goals now to get over 20 league goals in the season. Will we miss him on Friday, do you think?
I forgot he was suspended.
Fuck.
To be honest, the way Humphreys is playing, straight swap. Can't see it any difference, to be honest.
I love Steve saying it.
Same.
Me too. He's good. I love him more than I love Ellis Sims.
It's going to scream heartbreak, though, isn't it? When he doesn't sign.
It feels that way.
It's
but
written,
he's gorgeous.
Written in the wind.
Yeah.
He is. He's gorgeous. I think we go back to fucking Wigan. What's even in Wigan? Like Sean Maloney. Fuck that.
Hibs can't.
There's a train station which allows you to leave Wigan. That's the most important thing I've found there.
Good point.
Good point. It's about the only good thing about it.
Would his wage be
on plastic?
Oh, apologies. Would his wage be higher at Wigan?
Probably.
Yeah.
What did you say about plastic, Kev?
I was just going to say, of course, we've got no Shankland on Friday night because he's suspended. But with the game being on the plastic pitch at Hamilton, does that mean that we'll lose guys like Snodgrass who didn't play on the plastic at Livy?
I've just realised.
Similarly, Mikey Smith will be in the team on Friday night.
We'll have no Snodgrass on Friday either. I've just realised that. To be honest,
does that give
on the bench?
If us
George
five
Grant and others,
us five could play in that starting 11, we should be fucking beating Hamilton. If we can't beat Hamilton, get up.
How did they get on the night, Kev? Your brother was there.
Well, they went to extra time.
No, my brother's in Australia, mate.
No. So they played 120 minutes against Queen of the South, and as Graham Smith so eloquently puts it in the chat, should be nicely knackered for Friday. But that I'm loathed to agree with points like that, because this is when it becomes a wounded animal game for wee shitty clubs like Hamilton. They'll come out. They'll have a fucking spring in their step on Friday. I don't think the fact they've played 120 minutes tonight in a cup tie is going to even be a factor for them.
I'll be Jane. But there'll be the fucking Rams then.
Oh, right, okay.
Tablet and Macaroon Cup or something like that. Rab Dunfermline's team has to play. Right, let's wrap it up. Is there anything on YouTube? Any questions or anything that we need to?
No, that been.
That
there is a question from Jim McDowell. See, Jim McDowell's getting fucking banned from the next live chat. He's asking the question, and I must have missed why. But tenner pants time, Tam? Question mark. You're on mute, Tam.
You're on mute, Tam.
You're on mute. Well done, Tam.
I went for a piss, so I don't know if that means I need tenner pants if I go to the toilet. But
probably.
We were going to say something. Who else asked the question, Tam?
Crawford Jeffries asked a decent question. Right now, we're more than half a season in. Taking into account injuries, what is our best 11 in formation? I don't think Robbie knows that yet with the amount of tweaks we make. I hope you're ready to stay up till 11:30, 12 o'clock here.
Could have asked that an hour ago.
Did we talk about this last week? No, I don't know. But it's a brilliant headache to have. Because right now, for example, the formation that we play currently, for me, Stephen Kingsley doesn't feature in it, which is mental. Because if you rewind to this time last year, we would never have even mentioned that sentence. But Cochrane as a wing back plays every week. Kingsley, I don't think takes Sibic, Riles, or Hill
out of that team. Hill out. For me, Hill's a shit.
As it stands currently. But when they play well, because Hill's playing on the right.
Sibic will play on the right. He's played right back before. Just a shite in the middle at the minute. But you dismissed my point earlier.
I think Hill's been more than adequate since he's came in. I thought he's done well, to be honest, considering he's on loan and he's
done all right. He's done all
Scottish
right. Game. I think if it was a choice between him or Kingsley, I'd take Kingsley. He's been adequate. He's been all right. I wouldn't say he's been Kingsley level. And if it was up to me, I'd be playing Sibic in that position, Rails in the middle, and Kingsley there with Cochrane in front of him. But fair enough. We can argue all night.
You're arguing with yourself. I didn't know if you know where any of these players play.
What hand am I holding up, Shanks?
I couldn't care less. No idea.
Okay, and there we go. That gives an insight into Shanks's football acumen. But never mind.
I thought, I hate myself for saying it because we argued about it for so much. But 4-2-3-1 is still, I think, the formation that gets the best players playing in their best positions, etc. Because again, there's going to be a point where Haring and Devlin and Benny and Boyce, they all come back, and we'll be like, the fuck do these guys play? how do we get all these guys on the park? Because it's not going to happen. So it's a very good question, and it's
we've
a brilliant.
Absolutely not answered it.
But we don't know because we've never seen everybody play fully fit. Do you know what I mean? Like we don't know, like Andy Halliday, for example. He wouldn't start in any of our starting 11s, but I think we're a worse team without him. It's weird. I don't know what it is. But I don't know where he plays because he was rubbish on Saturday. But I'd still want him out there. I'd still take him in the team. Yeah, Stephen Kingsley's been crap since come back his thing, if I'm being brutally honest. So, but I'd still want him in my team. Craig Halkett has looked brilliant this season when he's come back, but he's made of chocolate. So how do you think it's a great headache to have, considering that we were having this argument 2 years ago about Mihai Popescu and Elliot Freer.
Mihai Popescu, fuck off.
Shows you where we came from, so I'm happy with that. Right,
that's time to end, man.
So let's go round the doors. Let's have our predictions for Hamilton away in the Scottish Cup on Friday night. Sold out away end attendance FC again. Shanks, what is your prediction for Friday night?
4-1 to Craig Galloway's 11.
Ando?
It'll be a comfortable 2-0.
Kev?
4-0.
Tam?
I was going to say the same, so I'll go 5-0.
I'm going Falkirk away in the Scottish Cup under Craig Levein or Daniel Stendhal, whoever it was. Well, 1-0. A really scrappy 1-0 to Hearts.
By the skin of your teeth, 1-0.
Right. Take this to the bank. I put it on Hingway yesterday. Elgin versus Ayr United. Congratulations, you're going to Ibrox or Celtic Park in the next round, whatever one you win. So well done. And Darvel versus Falkirk, you can expect similar. You will also be at Celtic Park or Ibrox. So congratulations, and we'll get Livingston, as we always play Livingston in the cup. That'll be
at Livy.
That'll be what happens. That'll be what happens. Right, and on YouTube before we call it a night.
No much. Mr. Moog says Shanks knows ball. That's actually I shouldn't even have validated that comment with any airtime. Nothing there. Andy Dixon really just saying we shouldn't be worrying about Hamilton fitness. Craig, I'm sure Tam pissed his pants in Florence. I think that was in response to the tenor lady. Or the tenor man, or whatever the fuck it's called. And Jim McDowell.
No lie told.
Jim McDowell, who will forever be known as "Fuck you, Jim," is saying Hamilton's pitch is nowhere near as bad as Livingston's. Like, well, I don't know. That remains to be seen.
Let's see it in the flesh. Let's see it in the flesh on Friday
let's see. And then finally to Rudy Elsey, if you're still listening, check that link that I posted in the group chat. Basically asking if there's any chance we can get these on the old Apple Podcasts. They are there, and it is worth mentioning for anybody that watches us on here that doesn't listen to the audio version. Our feed changed. If you have a look at the pinned tweet on Twitter, you'll see full details on how to subscribe, just for anybody that has missed it. So there we go. Bit of housekeeping. All done.
Cool. Well, thanks to everybody for getting involved on YouTube and with your comments and stuff. I appreciate it.
Hold on a minute. This is interesting. Right, Ben Odlin. My ex-girlfriend has a poster of Ando on her wall. Ben, if you could just email me with what bald, fat Hearts player that is, I'd be curious to know, and I'll see if I can get some sort of caricature done for you.
All right, get it. We'll sign it and we'll send you it back.
There you go.
Right, boys. I will see you on Sunday. We'll do the same again. I'll see you on Friday night, Shanks, at the game. And you, Kev, as well. Stay well away from me. We can't sit next to each other, as you well know.
We're in different stands, mate.
We'll be fine. That's secured our safe passage into the next round. Hey, boys. It's good to see you. I'll see you next week.
All the best.
Catch you later.
See you later.
Cheers, boys.
Gorgaro.